Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Cook Inlet Tug and Barge, a marine transportation company specializing in harbor services focusing on the Port of Anchorage and the major commercial participants in the Cook Inlet region, providing customers with marine services specifically tailored to their needs.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this Thursday's show. Up first, we've got these zones here in red due to extreme to high fire dangers out until midnight tonight. That's due to low humidities, about 25%, along with southerly winds gusting to 40 miles an hour. And that also includes the middle Tanana Valley, which of course that's the greater Fairbanks area, and the central interior. And the most extreme fire conditions will be from Black Rapids to Fort Greely. Moving on to the breakup map here for May 7th, 2015. Open water now, some open here down at the confluence there of the Tanana and Yukon. So some open on the Yukon there due to the water coming out of the Tanana River. And also have some open water now down toward Ruby. And a stretch of some open water here on the Koyukuk River as well, but the remainder of the Yukon pretty well mostly ice, and then the Kuskokwim now has at least some open water all the way down to the bay, except for that stretch right in there. And of course the Susitna River mostly open, as well as the Copper River mostly open as well. Moving on to satellite imagery, this band of clouds out here, that's going to be bringing the rain into the western Aleutians tonight, and then that'll bring some gusty winds and rain into the Adak-Atka area, central Aleutians, during the day tomorrow. Looking at the GOES East imagery, you can see a lot of moisture pushing northward off the Gulf there, and then another batch streaming northward here with another system down in that area, and kind of a warm front right through here. That brought a few sprinkles in over the northern southeast coast. Angoon had about 1/100th of an inch of rain, so nothing too terribly extensive. A little more heavier here along the North Gulf Coast, with Cordova and Yakutat both picking up about 1/4 of an inch in the 24-hour period. Ending at 4 p.m. this afternoon, while Anchorage just had 1/100th of an inch, but other areas up in the Susitna Valley had about 1/10 of an inch, and even heavier amounts over on the western Susitna Valley, western Cook Inlet there over toward the Alaska Range, and some areas of rain here also over the southwest interior. McGrath reporting some rain, and Holy Cross picking up about 1/10 of an inch of rain today, with the Alaska Peninsula here also seeing some rain with that area of clouds down in that location. Chignik, that's where the heaviest rainfall amount was in the last 24 hours. They picked up about 42/100ths of an inch of rain, while Unalaska had about 1/3 of an inch during that same time period. For tonight, we'll see this system organizes in the frontal boundary right up into this position here. So periods of rain continue along the North Gulf Coast, and then just some isolated showers here over the Panhandle. Rain also up along the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula, western Cook Inlet, Susitna Valley, just some scattered showers, but from western Cook Inlet over to the Alaska Range, it's the best chance of seeing any moisture. Showers here for the Alaska Peninsula down to the eastern Aleutians, but becoming more scattered as time goes on. And then the scattered showers had some light rain, fog, and drizzle up around the Pribilofs today. That'll break out to some scattered showers tonight, and those will all be sliding to the southeast, and then scattered showers here from the Kilburk Mountains and the Kuskokwim up into across the Norton Sound to the Seward Peninsula. This weak low up here probably kick off a few isolated snow showers, but nothing too terribly heavy expected to accumulate at all there. And then some scattered showers here along and south of the Brooks Range, but generally fair over the interior with variable amounts of cloudiness. And then we'll see this system spreading rain into the western Aleutians during the night tonight. That'll shift eastward and bring some gale force winds actually here into the central Aleutians tomorrow with rain, periods of AKwx and AKwx. Pretty nice under high pressure here for the eastern Aleutians. Light winds, light westerlies at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that light wind condition, fair weather pattern extends up across the Pribilofs, up across St. Lawrence Island, and back into the showers here over the western interior, although the coastline looking pretty, should be dry with variable clouds, afternoon sunshine over the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. Drier day for Bristol Bay tomorrow. Still some lingering showers here along the Aleutian Range and the Alaska Peninsula. With low center southeast of Kodiak Island, the warm front up along the coast, that'll keep occasional rain going from about Yakutat westward here into Prince William Sound along the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula. And that same pattern with the eastern Cook Inlet seeing little if any precipitation, the heavier amounts over on the west side to about the Alaska Range. And under upper high pressure, both at the surface, also at the surface, it should be a dry day over the southeast coast, but winds along the coast forecast to increase throughout the afternoon up to 25 to 30 knots during the afternoon hours, but should be dry. You will see an increase in the mid and high level clouds throughout the day as this front edges its way toward the coastline, but up in the Tanana Valley, dry conditions again. Still probably pick those winds up again in the afternoon through the passes of the eastern Alaska Range, but sunshine, temperatures into the lower, possibly mid 60s up in the Tanana Valley. Highs near 60 in the Yukon Valley. Looks pretty good on the north slope areas as well, but the western areas with this weak low sliding northward there, western Arctic coast especially, probably picking up a few snow showers. Areas of low clouds and fog, of course, all along the Arctic coast at times with lowest conditions during the morning hours, better in the afternoon. And for Saturday, that low center stays south of Kodiak Island or to the southeast there in that easterly flow. Keeps some showers circulating in across the island, but the front itself gets pushed inland and weakens, but should bring some rain into the southeast coast late tomorrow night and during the day on Saturday with some areas of rain and showers, but the front really weakening as it moves eastward here. Still up along the North Gulf Coast, so areas of rain and showers, especially Yakutat to Cordova, in toward Whittier, and then over the Alaska Range here, some afternoon showers with isolated thunderstorms over the western Alaska Range, northeastward there to about Denali Park. But Tanana Valley, upper Yukon Valley, back to the west, Koyukuk out to the Kobuk here. In fact, all the way down across the Delta is looking mostly sunny with temperatures back into the 60s in the Tanana Valley there. And about that up in the upper Yukon, cooler back to the west, but still a pretty nice day there with light north to northeast winds, keeping the fog and low clouds off the coast a little bit. Should be a dry day, partly to mostly sunny day, hopefully here for Bristol Bay. The Alaska Peninsula looking dry. Then you get into the rain here, sliding into the eastern Aleutians, that weakening front now in low pressure area, and also a chance of rain just grazing the Pribilof Islands, but back to the west, showers following that behind. Just scattered isolated showers from AKwx and AKwx out toward Shemya. Temperatures this afternoon along the southeast coast in the lower to mid 50s, 54 at the state capital today. Skagway had 53, 52 at Sitka, and a 55 down at Klawock. Stewart had 63, 46 at Yakutat. Cordova 47 degrees and a 46 degree reading at Valdez. Same thing at Seward. Along Cook Inlet, temperatures range from 52 at Homer there in Kamishak Bay to 56 at Kenai, 51 in Palmer, and a 48 degree reading at Talkeetna. Otherwise, Gulkana up to 56, and at Northway 60 degrees. Upper 50s here through the Tanana Valley with 59 at Fairbanks, 63 up at Fort Yukon. Same thing at Eagle, 59 over at in the Koyukuk Valley at Bettles with 46 degrees at Anatuvik. Up along the Arctic coast, Kaktovik was missing, but Deadhorse had 25. 21 both at Barrow and Atasuk, 25 over at Point Lay, 21 degrees also at Point Lay and Point Hope up there in the northwest, with kind of a range here, 35 at Kotzebue, but just 28 at Kivalina, 23 at Tin City, where they had northeast winds gusting to 35 miles per hour. A milder 38 at Nome, and a warmer yet temperature of 45 there at Golovin. 52 in McGrath, that's 61 there at, I believe that's Huslia, and a 46-degree reading there at Anvik, 42 at Unalakleet, 46 at St. Michael, 36 at St. Mary's. Actually, that's Hooper Bay at 36, 32 at Macoriac, 46 today in Bethel, and out at St. Lawrence Island, Savunga had 28. Looking at the Bering Sea, a little lower temperatures, lower 40s there for the Pribilofs, lower to mid 40s for the Aleutians, and about the same here for the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, King Salmon up to 51, 45 in Kodiak. Lows tonight, mostly in the 40s here, south central Alaska, upper 30s to lower 40s there for the Tanana Valley, Copper River Basin, ranging from upper 20s to lower 30s here, Tok Northway, over toward Eagle, dropping below freezing a little bit, but 40s here, lower to mid for the Panhandle, the southeast coast. Up along the Arctic coast, lows in the teens to lower 20s, and in the 30s here through the Brooks Range, upper 20s to lower 30s in the northwest, and Seward, or on the Seward Peninsula, that's Nome with the forecast low of 33, same low forecast for the Pribilofs, mid to upper 30s for the Aleutians. Highs tomorrow back into the mid 60s here in the central Tanana Valley. Same thing at Eagle, both forecasting 66 tomorrow. Fort Yukon should have a high right around 62. And near 60-degree readings all the way back into the lower to mid Yukon and Yukon and Kuskokwim River valleys, with McGrath up around 60, but cooler temperatures down in the deltas with the mid 40s to lower 50s in that area, but Bethel may reach 54. Lower to mid 50s for the Bristol Bay, and still in the 40s there, mid 40s for the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians, and temperatures in the upper 50s to mid 60s with the warmest conditions there over the southern southeast coast. And flying weather with that southeast flow and all the moisture coming northward, especially with the warm front, Cordova into Prince William Sound, down the south coast of the Kenai Peninsula to the east side of Kodiak Island. Look for quite an extensive area of IFR. Marginal VFR as far east as Yakutat and along and east of the western Alaska Range, but to the west of Cook Inlet. Good VFR here from Bristol Bay, the Kilbuck Mountains, up in across the central and eastern interior, even the eastern Arctic coast and North Slope looking VFR tomorrow, but the west side areas of IFR there with that weak low as it moves from the Kotzebue Sound area northward, and marginal VFR from Selawik and the Noatak Valley areas across the Seward Peninsula and Norton Sound. So marginal VFR here across Bristol Bay to the Alaska Peninsula coast on the Bering Sea side, but basically VFR here for the eastern Aleutians tomorrow under high pressure up across the Pribilofs, and a big area of IFR there, just catching St. Lawrence Island down to St. Matthew Island, and some IFR again with that system coming into the central Aleutians, Adak and Atka. Probably see the lowest conditions out that way. Passes, Anatuvik looks pretty good VFR in either approach. Adigan, same forecast, VFR north and south. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR, but the eastern entrances, or the west entrances, will be VFR. And for Rainy, the east entrance will be marginal, but the pass and on to the west will be VFR. And for the Windy Pass, VFR, no obstructions of visibilities or ceilings there for Isabel and Mentasta. Antonita, VFR. Portage, marginal VFR, IFR in the eastern entrance, of course better to the west, but still marginal. Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels showing cold pocket here, 2,000 feet up along the North Gulf Coast, but the Panhandle seeing 4,000 to 8,000 foot freezing levels across the stretch there, the way down toward Dixon Entrance. And then cooler here along the eastern Bering Sea and the Alaska Peninsula, and some warmer air out to the west here, up to 6,000 feet through the west central Aleutians. And with that system coming eastward, look for some icing threats here. Adak and Atka mostly tonight over the western Aleutians, sliding eastward tomorrow below about 10,000 feet. Pretty good here over the eastern Bering Sea, and then that weak low just kicks off maybe some isolated areas of icing up there in the northwest. And then with all the moisture sliding northwestward here, occasional widespread moderate rime icing below 12,000 feet possible here, western Prince William Sound, Calgan Island, down along the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula. And then this whole area will be shifting eastward tomorrow night and on Saturday in across the Panhandle. Looking at the upper level wind flow chart, you can see the jet stream arcing quite a ways to the north here, so that south to southeast flow pulling all that moisture into the North Gulf Coast and over south central Alaska for tomorrow. High pressure over the panhandle, but the whole pattern gradually shifting eastwards. So that'll allow that front, a weakening front, into the area tomorrow night and on Saturday. And then the next 120 knot jet pushing that next system into the central Aleutians tomorrow. 9,000 foot winds, light southeasterlies here across the southeast coast, and a little stronger along and off the coast there. That whole pattern again edging its way eastward toward the coastline during the afternoon and evening hours, but easterlies 25 to 30 knots, northeast 35 across Kodiak Island. Lighter and variable up over the interior, but taking southwesterly direction there toward the Brooks Range to the Arctic coast, 10 to 25 knots there east of Cape Lisburne. But high pressure, light winds here at eastern central Bering Sea, southeast up to 30, supporting those gale force winds forecast for the central Aleutians tomorrow. Same thing at 3,000 feet, southeasterlies at about 30 knots, and that's the strongest winds out that way. High pressure, lighter, more variable there from St. Lawrence Island down across the Pribilos to the eastern Aleutians, northwest 10 to 20 here from Nunivak Island down to the Alaska Peninsula, and then the stronger winds here, that low southeast of Kodiak, southeast 25 to 35 knot easterlies across the Gulf of Alaska, turning northeast, possibly as high as 40 knots there across Sitkinak. And turbulence, occasional moderate chop, mostly along and off the coast. That area again increasing and edging its way eastward toward the panhandle during the afternoon hours as those winds pick up. But maybe some moderate chop there for the southern Kodiak Island areas, AKwx and Sitkinak, with light to isolated moderate chop here for the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutian Range, as well as up here over the west central North Slope and the Arctic coastal areas, and then moderate chop here for Adak and Atka. And after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
Something's moving out there.
Welcome to Stargazers. I'm Dean Regas, astronomer from the Cincinnati Observatory.
And I'm James Albury, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida. When we look up at the stars at night, we see the same star patterns which our ancestors saw thousands of years ago and which our descendants will see thousands of years from now.
The star patterns we see every night appear to be fixed in their positions relative to each other, but in reality they are not. In fact, all of the stars we see are moving at incredible speeds throughout space in every conceivable direction. But because they're also so incredibly far away, it takes many generations to notice even small changes in their positions, except for a couple of them.
But there are a few of those lights of the night that move really fast in comparison to the stars. Their name, planet, comes from the Greek word for wanderer. They appear to be rapidly wandering stars. Let's take a look at 3 of these wandering stars in our evening sky.
Let's start by looking west after sunset next week. And even before the sky is darkened enough to see any stars, 2 bright points of light will appear. The first to appear is the planet Venus. It's actually visible in the daytime if you know where to look. And up and to the left of Venus and appearing a little later is Jupiter.
We said earlier that the word planet means wanderer, and you'll have a great opportunity over the next few weeks to see Venus wander and meet up with Jupiter. Let's skip ahead a week at a time and see.
May 18th,
May 25th, there's the moon.
June 1st,
June 8th,
June 15th,
June 22nd, there's the moon again.
June 29th, almost there.
And finally, the 30th. That's a super scoochie. Don't miss it.
Let's go another week and
Venus is leaving Jupiter behind.
notice that the surrounding stars have been staying in formation and only Jupiter and Venus have moved.
Jupiter hasn't moved much at all. Let's go back to the skies next week. Venus is now well to the right of Jupiter, but it will soon pass it.
Let's find that third bright planet, but we'll have to turn to the east to spot it.
We're now facing east, same time, same date, and low on the horizon is a yellowish point of light. You may notice that it doesn't twinkle like the other stars. It's the planet Saturn, and Saturn is the slowest of the planets we can see with the naked eye. Saturn takes nearly 30 years to make a complete circuit around the sky. About halfway up in the sky above Saturn is a bright star named Arcturus.
Arcturus is important to this discussion because it's one of the fastest moving stars, and it was Edmund Halley, yeah, the comet guy, who discovered this. Almost 300 years ago, he noticed that the bright star Arcturus had changed its position slightly from its location in ancient star charts, which made him wonder if perhaps all the stars were not as permanently fixed as everyone thought.
Of course, he was right, because we now know that all the stars are moving and that Arcturus changes its position among the stars faster than any bright star except Alpha Centauri. But let's show you how to find Arcturus even when Saturn isn't below it.
Go outside any clear evening this spring, look north for the Big Dipper, then use it as a guide, because to find Arcturus, all you need to do is shoot a line through the handle of the Big Dipper, and that line will land on Arcturus, the brightest star in the constellation Boötes the Herdsman.
And once you've found it, think of this. While all the other stars are moving in different directions at different speeds, Arcturus' speed is exceptional. You see, Arcturus is moving at almost 90 miles per second toward the star Spica in the constellation Virgo, which causes it to change its position among the stars one full moon width every 900 years. And for a star, that's fast.
So, watch the skies over the next few weeks and see Venus catch up with Jupiter and pass it.
And watch the skies over the next 70,000 years and watch Arcturus zoom across the sky and catch up with Spica and pass it.
What?
Oh, I forgot. You can't do that.
So, you'll just have to watch our simulation as you keep looking up.
Welcome back. Looking at the today's sea ice edge, or the sea ice, quite an open area here southwest and west of St. Matthew Island. Also a growing area of open water here all along the southwest coast, and then that ever-growing area covering eastern Norton Sound now mostly open. And the whole area here through this area is going to be shifting northwestward over the weekend. For the southeast coast tomorrow, those southeast winds on the increase. Small craft advisories here for the central and north coast tomorrow, and tomorrow afternoon coming up to 25 to 30 knots. And over the inside waters, southeasterlies 10 to 15 over the central and southern inside areas there, and about south maybe 10 knots there for Lynn Canal and Glacier Bay. And then for Saturday, southerlies in the afternoon up to 20 knots here for northern Lynn Canal. Southerlies mostly variable to south, or probably will be mostly southerlies here 10 knots with seas at about 2 feet. And then out along the coast, south to southeast, central and south coast, more southerly, southeasterlies here, 25, and some small craft advisories here up along the extreme north coast. For the North Gulf Coast tomorrow, gale warnings out, southeasterlies 35 knots, small craft advisories for Prince William Sound, east at 25, northerlies for Cook Inlet at 20 knots, Kamishak Bay, Shelikof Strait, northerlies at 25 knots, the Barren Islands northeast 25, and the waters east of Kodiak Island at 20 knots. Those will swing around to the northwest at about 25 on Saturday, with northerlies at 20 for Shelikof Strait, but small craft advisories here for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands northeast 25 knots. Small craft advisories here all along the North Gulf Coast from the east and southeast at 25 to 30, and under small craft advisories 20 knots from the east for Prince William Sound and Cook Inlet. Southern Cook Inlet will have small craft warnings out for Saturday, but north of the Forelands only at about 20 knots. And then moving on to Bristol Bay, tomorrow northwest at 15, and that pattern all the way down the coastline here to Cape Sarachef. And small craft advisories northwest 25 there, Sitkinak over to about Sand Point, and then 20 knots the remainder of the distance there along the coast. And then for Saturday, light variable winds for Bristol Bay with slight seas, northwest 20 here, Sitkinak over to Chignik at about 20, and then southeast winds starting out light and variable in the morning, but becoming southeast 10 to 15 for the peninsula in the afternoon, of those seas running at about 4 to 6 feet. And heading to the Aleutians, western Aleutians, light winds there, but small craft advisories. In fact, actually that should be 35 knots here. So minimum gales forecast for the central Aleutians tomorrow as that system comes eastward, and lighter winds southwest, west-southwest 15 to 20 for the Fox Islands. And then on Saturday, Small craft advisories here, southeast or east-southeast at about 25 there for the Unalaska Island area and Unimak Island. For the central Aleutians, kind of on the north side there, northeast 20, on the south side northwest 20, and then dropping back to 15, southwest 20 out towards Shimia. Southwest coast, northwest 15 to 20 knots tomorrow. Pribilof's pretty light out of the northwest at 10. Those will swing around to the east at 20 knots on Saturday. Northeast here for the southwest coast, but light, and then southwesterlies at 20 with 4-foot seas for St. Lawrence Island. Up along the Arctic coast, we've got easterly winds here on the eastern side at about 10 knots, 15 knots for the central coast, the west coast 15 knots, and then north to northwest, or northeast to northwest 10 to 15. And then for Wales to Cape Thompson, small or brisk wind advisories, south 25 knots in the forecast for Saturday, south 20 here for the west coast, and then southwest 20 for the central coast. And then the eastern Beaufort Sea, lighter and more variable. You can see west winds becoming north over toward demarcation point at about 10 knots. For tonight again, rain, periods of here all along the North Gulf Coast and the Kenai Peninsula, and especially the areas of western Cook Inlet to the Alaska Range. Scattered showers out here to the west, scattered snow showers up over the northwest. Areas of low clouds and fog along the Arctic coast, and then some rain changing to showers here over the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. And then rain again tomorrow here for the North Gulf Coast with this warm front and the cold front back down to the south. Should be a dry day over the Panhandle. Look for the clouds to increase along with the wind, and rain sliding into the central Aleutians. Slides to the eastern Aleutians for Saturday with a weakening front here bringing rain in tomorrow night, and looks kind of wet and damp here for the southeast coast and the North Gulf Coast for Saturday, with isolated thunderstorms possible from Denali and along the western Alaska Range.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.